Party people in the place to be. Live from 58 Dream Street. We're James with Games. Happy Sunday, folks. Here we are at an unusual time. Haha. Yes, here I am with my foul 40,000 year stench. Hello, Cedric. To dive back into Quest for Glory at a slightly different time than normal, a little earlier. And this is also going to be quite a bit briefer than I would ever plan for on a normal day. Because I got some stuff going on. Fun stuff, so that's nice. Playing a tabletop RPG. Not on a table, though. Via voice chat. With an old friend from across the country. The other side. Well, he's not from across the country. He's from here. That's how we became friends. Now he lives on the other side of the country. And although he's basically the guy who introduced me to the concept of role-playing games, not computer role-playing games, but to playing role-playing games in real life. He did that when we were in elementary school. We would play what we called mind games, where he, as the GM, usually, would describe a situation to me, and then I would say what I would do. But there were no dice and no rules. I've never played an actual tabletop RPG with him, although he has gone on to be a very, very dedicated RPGer. I'm expecting this to probably be some of the best GM'd RPGing I've ever experienced. So I'm pretty excited for that. But I did not want to go a whole fortnight between sessions of Quest for Glory, Shadows of Darkness. So I'm starting early. I'm probably going to end when I would normally be starting. But that's not so bad, because having a briefer time frame today, here's the silver lining. It's not just a silver lining. This is a cloud of pure silver, I think. I ended episode 6, the 6th session of this playthrough, and it was the first time that at the end of a session, I didn't know what to do next. Or I didn't even know what I should have been doing at the time. Stymied. Oh, whoops. Adjust the headphone level. Let me know if there's any volume balance issues here. But yeah, I hit that wall. So I've had some reflection time. I've had a week. I've come up with a few ideas that I think might get us back on track. And so here's the nice part of this being a shortened session. Either these ideas work, and we get some forward momentum, and we wrap up quickly with the excitement of being back on track, ready for next time. Maybe turn this down a little bit in my own ears. Or, worst case scenario, all of my ideas fail, and then we just stop. There's not like a couple hours of me wandering around getting increasingly frustrated. I can go back to the drawing board for a week, and maybe then I'll figure it out. I don't know. We're going to find out together. So here we go. Starting in Arana's garden. Alright. So I have a ton of threads dangling. And that's part of what both makes it like, oh man, seriously? How am I jammed up here when there's so many different things I could be pushing the ball on and I can't get anywhere? But it also makes it confusing in a way. Where should I be focusing my efforts? So, one of the things I started thinking about was that in the very first episode, because I've come into the role of hero in my Quest for Glory playing, and I've also grown as a player of adventure games for the adventure side of our adventure RPG hybrid. So when I wound up in Mordavia, I didn't wait for the game to start telling me, hey, there's trouble afoot, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I started seeking out trouble. And so in the very first episode, I got into the Mad Monk's Monastery and into Borgov Castle, which, and I'm not calling anybody out here, Schumann, but with Schumann unintentionally revealed something important to me last week when he said, he watched me get back out of the castle and he said, finding that way out is a way that people commonly miss puzzle points in this game. And I said, what? How? And he said, because most people go to the castle and they never come back out. Well, that certainly suggests that my repeated trips back to the castle to try to push the ball forward with Tanya are a little misguided here, right? No, that's okay, because it was very vital, actually, really important to put me back in the mindset that, oh yeah, I did some deliberate sequence breaking at the start here. Because once I thought about that, so here are my ideas. Here are my major ideas for how we might get this going. First things first. When I stopped and thought about it, because I've spent a lot of time trying to chase down these mad monk rituals, like that hanged man one and such. When I stopped and thought about it, no one's ever told me about those, or that it's important to stop the mad monk or anything. Ooh, fingers crossed, my friend, we'll see. But no one's told me. Nobody has told me that there's, I know about the rituals because I busted into the monastery out of curiosity and learned about them. So maybe those aren't the paths I should be chasing right now, is what I'm saying. And moreover, what I realized last week, when I really started getting the Arana dreams rolling, they're probably going to culminate in me getting the quest, right? So that's one thing we're going to do, although it's daytime right now, so I can't do it yet. But I'm just going to sleep more and see if the Arana dreams start to say like, hey, get on the rails, buddy. That's item number 1. Item number 2, idea number 2, is that a quest line that I do have going, although I haven't done anything on it, is the Rusalka quest line. And I have the whole series of steps that I need to complete to help the Rusalka, which I think I gotta do. I don't think it's gonna turn out to matter to the game any more than Julianar in Trial by Fire. But I'm a hero and I'm very honorable. I'm a paladin. I can't just leave her in the lake, both because it's obviously bad for her troubled spirit, but also bad for all the less steel-willed men than me who come along and are like, oh, a hot lady in the lake wants me to join her, and get themselves drowned. So we gotta help her. And Magda dropped a vital hint to me. So I'm gonna follow up on my Rusalka idea first. Maybe it's a vital hint, maybe it's not. She said something to the effect that people have tried kindness, or kindness or something along those lines as a strategy to get through to Rusalkas. But the idea that could work is only a rumor. And I went back to the Rusalka and I was like, well, can I went through all the dialogue options again, and none of them involved. Oh, well, Schumann, perhaps we'll find out together today. Or more likely next week. If I end this week and nothing's happening, and then I come back, and we come back next weekend, and an hour and a half in, I'm like, oh my god. Maybe then we'll explicitly discuss what I might have done here. But I'm remaining optimistic. So I went to the Rusalka and I went through all the dialogue options again, because some of them are nice and it didn't do anything. But here's the other thing. There are other ways. There are other things that people do when they're wooing. Right? There are other things people do when they're wooing. I have candy that I don't know what to do with. And one of the things to do to free the Rusalka is to give her a token of the love that was denied her. Maybe her unfaithful lover never brought her candy? I don't know. One frustrating thing here is that another part of the Rusalka quest is figuring out her name. And unless there's a whole branch that I'm missing in the plot here, it occurs to me, I don't actually know where I have been paying no attention to the steps on the map except to be gradually moving to the west. I should get my bearings here to make sure I'm heading to the Rusalka. You know what? I've turned the cycles down a step further. I'll come back to that later. But that combat felt better than every other combat.
the paladin ability to sense the presence of danger.
What are you talking about, John Rhys Davies? I gained that ability way back in Wages of War, and it was useless. Did my honor go up? Okay. I gained honor because I've finally killed enough bunnies? I don't know, because I know that I was just shy of 250 last time, after actually doing the honorable thing of fixing Boris and Olga's marriage. The other thing is that, yeah, so I'm supposed to find out her name, and this is where I missed the text parser approach. Okay. If we never see another bunny, we'll know that's the answer. It'll be weird. Okay. Switch over to my map here. And then... where?
You are near the northwestern corner of the forest.
Okay. Well, that's fairly helpful, actually. Northwest south. So if this goes into a four-way, I know where I am, I think. Four-way. If just south of here is a four-way, then we're almost there. Okay. So, yeah, I'm supposed to learn her name. And her name is probably Alyssa, unless there's a separate entire way to investigate her name, because there's only X number of headstones. One of them is explicitly a woman named Alyssa who had a watery grave. And then her lover is buried next to her. And her grave is empty, because they never recovered her body. Well, if that was the prime vampire, we're under vampire rules that do not... PJ, welcome. We're under rules where killing the prime vampire doesn't end the vampire curse altogether. Now, what are you going to do? Okay. Yeah, so her name's probably Alyssa. It'd be great if I could ask about or tell about Alyssa and just break the sequence. Or maybe but then what I realized is, I don't seem to have any route to talking to anybody about Alyssa or the Rusalka. So what if these steps...
You have a strange,
what if the whole thing comes together such that I actually have to win her over first,
desires as you near the lake. The briny
and
lake
then either I get the dialogue option to tell her name, or to learn about her name, or she'll tell me her name, maybe?
Could
I
you
don't know.
help me? This water is so cold, and I need someone to help warm me.
Okay. And I want to carefully avoid being drowned here. Or rather, if I am drowned, I want to start right back up. Ah, man, Schumann. I just realized way back when I commented on how I worked backwards from your comment to realize that to refresh my memory that there's no reason for me to have ever gone to the castle yet. When I was pointing that out and I said, I'm not trying to call anybody out here, I should have said, I'm not trying to put anybody on blast. Or perhaps even, I'm not trying to put anyone on blast, especially not a 3D blast. I should have gone all in. Oh well. Wordplay is just as good when you recognize the opportunity for having made it 5 minutes later and then laboriously reconstruct the moment, right? Right? That's how it works, right? British, welcome. Hi. Okay. So. I just need a save game name. I'm the seductor, I think. I'm going to try. So yeah, this is idea. Idea number one is just probably getting to the end of these dream sequences is important. Idea number two is, can I woo the Rusalka with gifts instead? Like, is that the kind of kindness I can do? And then we can talk about the other thoughts I have.
It is so cold here in the lake. Please.
I thought for a second she was going to go, is that candy you have in your hand? Because it happened right after I clicked. But okay. Hey, you want some candy?
You offer the Rusalka some of the candy you purchased in town.
Candy? For me? Oh, thank you. It wouldn't be right to drown you after you've been so kind. No one has been kind to me for as long as I can remember.
Wait, hold on. You're self-aware of the cruelly drowning people? It's not like your nature, it's a choice? Okay, anyway, boom. Alright. Hey, that feels good. Even if all my other ideas are a bust, the very first thing I tried worked. And now we can actually talk. Let's get down to the other things, and then we'll double back and see if name works now. What's the story? Why are you here?
You ask what a nice girl like her is doing.
Oh wait, I already had this dialogue option, but do I get a real answer?
I don't really know. I've been here for such a long time now. I mean, it's not like I can go anywhere. I can't leave the lake.
Like, absolutely hilarious to me that her previous just like being like, come on, get in the lake, was not because she is now a single-minded spirit who can think of nothing but drowning, but rather just that she got in a rut personally. She just like, things have been going so bad for me, and just the only thing that makes me feel better is to drown suckers. But if you give her some candy, she's like, whew, alright, geez, yeah. Maybe she had low blood sugar. So you've been drowning a lot of dudes, huh?
It's my job to drown anyone who comes to the lake. That's what being a Rusalka is all about.
Obviously in Gloriana, they haven't got to whatever their equivalent of the Nuremberg trials would be. So, yeah, have you drowned people from town? Are you from the town? Any thoughts about the town?
I think I remember the town. I must have lived there once. Other than the fact it's somewhere to the northeast, I guess I can't tell you much about it.
Do you remember ever leaving your hair? Wait. I can probably actually just eventually be like, love, can I have some hair? And she'll give it to me. Okay. Let's go back to this. Maybe we might get real answers about all this stuff. So you're a Rusalka.
It is lonely being a Rusalka. Anytime anyone nice comes along, I pull him into the lake and drown him. Once he's drowned, he's not much company, I'm afraid.
Did you drown all the dudes whose hands are now reaching out of the swamp? Is that what's going on here? More on the swamp later. It's another one of my thoughts. Nah, I want to delay gratification on the name thing. So, yeah. I guess this lake is pretty corpsey.
This lake is surrounded on three sides by steep mountains. To the southwest, it merges with a swamp. The lake is not a safe place for you to swim. Many unpleasant things lurk in the deep water.
Yeah, so yeah, about the swamp.
The swamp is definitely a creepy place. Dead things lie under the water and try to drag the living underneath.
That's the vibe I've been getting.
Kinda sounds like my job description, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was
well,
thinking.
the things in the swamp are a whole lot nastier than I am, so be careful out there.
Excuse me, folks. Incoming telephone call. I'll be right back with you. And I'm back. Possibly about to get called about to get called. Oh Lord. Possibly about to get called again. Because that was Danielle and she had a grocery shopping related question just at the store. And then I answered it. And then she said, okay. And then she said, And then she hung up on me. So if she had a second question, but she dropped her phone or her thumb slipped or something, she'll be getting back to me. But it hasn't happened yet, so I think we're in the clear. So yeah, those things, are those the dudes who you drowned?
I stay far away
or you
from
mean,
them.
yeah.
They crawled into the lake from the swamp one day. Ugh, they remind me of worms and give me the creeps.
Okay, never mind. The things are separate from the corpses. Alright. I think that makes sense because we have the specific word corpse. But you have to remember, or if you've never heard it before, you must know an important fact about me, which is that my elementary school library had multiple of these little sort of like, it's not novelizations, short storyfication collections of Tales from the Crypt comics. So like written as stories with occasional panels as the illustrations. And the Tales from the Crypt classic, The Thing from the Grave, where the thing from the grave is just a corpse, was very, very impactful upon my psyche as a young person. Although, the Rusalka storyline is a better match for the Tales from the Crypt story None But the Lonely Heart, which concludes similarly to The Thing from the Grave, a reanimated corpse dragging an unwilling living person to lay with them in the grave forever. But with an added, it's a lady corpse, and she has seduced a man via, love letters, and he's come to marry her. And he deserves it, don't worry. He's a bad dude. He's a black widow. Or he marries desperate old ladies and then offs them so he can have their stuff. But the joke's on him, because it's Tales from the Crypt, right? Most of the time, there's a grim morality tale going on. And then every now and then an innocent person just gets it. Let's talk about the forest, Rusalka.
I don't know much about the forest. I can't leave my lake, so I don't get around there much.
Are there any questions you'd like to ask me about the forest? Because I've just been wandering around in that forest for days. Alright, okay. The main event. Is your name Alyssa or anything? Do you know your name?
I've been a Rusalka for so long. I've forgotten.
What you should have done is early on, you should have, when you're pressing the bodies down into the mud at the bottom of the lake, you should have arranged them to spell your name as a reminder. But okay. Okay. Well, that's enough of that. Can I tell her anything? Oh, well, every other time I told you about myself, you were just like, "Ooh, you sound real drownable. You want to get in here, sexy?" So, if I told you now that I'm a hero, a prince, a paladin, a Simbani warrior, how'd you feel about that?
You tell the Rusalka about some of your previous adventures.
Especially the jewel. I should tell her the Julinar one.
You've done a lot to get rid of monsters and things. You don't think I'm some kind of monster, do you? I mean, just because I'm undead and drown people, you don't think I'm bad.
I do think the drowning part is bad. I think you should stop that. But I also see how it's actually intrinsic to your nature, and I don't know the whole story with you and Janos, assuming that you are Alyssa and Janos was your lover. Okay. Well, if I see the grave after I've spoken to her, will I then learn the name? I don't know. However, something happened, so we feel great. You take care.
Please, come visit me again sometime.
I will.
It's nice to have a friend to talk to.
You probably could have had other friends, too. I'm not saying that it's admirable how many men, their mind goes right onto that one track, but I bet some of those dudes with the one-track mind, you probably could have got if you had just gone sit on the rock and let's talk. You probably could have made a friend. You didn't. Listen, I don't know. I imagine it's very tough being Rusalka. I'm not trying to judge. Okay, so that moved a little, and I will go back to the cemetery and look at the graves again and see if that just induces me to understand. I had a few other thoughts before hopefully night falls eventually, and we can celebrate that. So my remaining thoughts were one of the very first areas that I saw when I got out of the cave was that swamp with the dead hands. There's more than one screen with the dead hands swamp. And with the sound logic of assuming those dead hands want to pull me down into the grave, I've just never even stepped into the swamp. But what if that's foolish? What if I can avoid the hands What if I can actually explore the swamp? Right? Like, I've been otherwise thinking, you know, I've mapped the whole area, so what the hell am I missing? What if I haven't mapped the whole area? That's thought number 2, and we're right here. So, I don't know, let's find out. Let's find out. It could work. And it could not work. And if it doesn't work, we should realize that pretty quickly. Just after watching me get horrifically drowned like 5 or 6 times. Then I might be able to say, okay, yeah. This just isn't going to work. Okay. Here we are in the swamp, saving. Okay, deep breath. Waiting for the save to complete. Okay. Hands. I'm just going to watch the hands. There are 5 at least. Do they follow a predictable pattern like Mega Man blocks? If they do, it's a long one, because that one came back up. Okay. Well, what happens if I just go in, period? I don't. I can't. I cannot step into the swamp, it does not seem. Okay. Well, then that part... Can I walk along the bank back here? I cannot. Can I just stick my finger in the swamp goo and see what happens? The swamp won't budge. Okay.
That didn't do it.
If I throw a rock in the swamp? What else do I have? What do I have that might appeal to the modern, trendy swamp corpse? I wonder if I could have also given flowers to the Rusalka. Candy and flowers is classic. Probably the candy is more helpful to her. Because, like, she's in a lake. There are lilies and stuff around her all the time. Probably not that much candy. Dedev! Hello! I finally figured out one thing, which was to be kind to the Rusalka, not just by saying, hey, what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this, but by feeding her candy. So I'm friends with the Rusalka now, but she doesn't know her name, and I do not have the ability to say, I think your name's Alyssa. Where have you gone, text parser? Okay. My one quick thought here. I don't know that the hands are going to like rocks. Maybe they will.
This does not seem to be the best place to do that.
A body of water is like always the best place to throw rocks, right? And now I can throw them. But my one stupid idea, besides, what if I throw the, can I just trouble the water and then something will happen? My backup thought was, can I play catch with, with the hands, be like, oh, sweet, something to do, and then they go away? No. Okay. And then east is just going to be here. Okay, so that was not the swamp that's directly adjacent to the cave, but then if I go south, it's another one. The rocks are positioned differently. Are they positioned in a way that a young man can walk out on them? Does not seem so. This seems not the way, but can I fetch a hand? I mean, that would be just horrible.
You didn't manage to fetch it?
Probably for the best. Okay, I'll take comfort in that. Okay. Maybe put a pin in the swamp. Because I can't seem to step into it. There's not even no drowning animation, nor a drowning description. When I do the King's Quest games, I'll try to make more of an effort to experience the hilarious deaths. For example, it occurs to me now that there might be like either some good puns about the Rusalka drowning me or like a brief kind of funny animation for drowning me that we'll never experience now because I was too smart to fall for her her subtle scheme. Saying, hey, come in the lake, come in the lake. Would you just come in the fucking lake? Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Just let me put my arms around you and we'll be in the lake. Nice try, lady. Okay, where am I now? I don't know. My problem here was that I was not paying attention to what I was doing. However, place isn't that big. We should be back on track soon enough. East from here. Yeah, that's the thing. She hasn't practiced, you know, she jumps right into the ask about come in the lake so I can drown you without the say hello part. So her communication stats aren't high enough to trick anybody into thinking that it would be a good idea to come in there. And also, I understand it's a family game, so I know why they had to make the art choice. But if I was a lady with a bitter impression of men based on my bad experiences in life, and I wanted to, you know, get these dim-witted men easily seduced so I could drown them, I don't know that I'd be positioning my hair so artfully to cover my chest. Which is not me saying that I want the Rusalka to expose herself to me, or that I think it's, you know, she's a prude or something. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if you, how am I lost in the, well, I know how I'm lost in these woods. I am lost in my own thoughts, and I'm just taking steps. Alright, good catch, PJ Chick. As long as you don't leave before doing it, I think your communication stats are okay. Well, let's, this one's protection, right? The one that looks like a shield. Yes, of course.
You cast the protection spell. It gives you a warm, safe feeling.
On the slightly reduced cycles, will this improve the fighting a Necrotor experience too? Well, some of this though is probably attributable. Yeah. Okay. It's actually possible that there's a little more room to turn the cycles down because, okay, you know what? I should have known, but it's quite possible that I've been unfair to this combat system because I've been playing it on hyperspeed for no necessary reason. Oh, good lord. Never going to find my way anywheres. Okay. I just got to get to one landmark, look at where I am. In the meantime, the remaining thoughts.
Your protection spell has worn off.
Well, it served me pretty well. I mean, oh god, look at the mauling that I took. Okay. You know what? Oh, come on, dude. No. Escape. 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 Woo! Alright. Feels good to be home. Alright. Well, you know what? This wasn't the one I was going to do next. Or was it? It doesn't matter. I'll do this one next now that I'm in the area. On the note of the combat already feeling better because I'm turning the cycles down a little bit more, I should have known. It's because they're set so high by default, and I thought maybe this game really stepped up the processing demands over Wages of War. And so I shouldn't turn them down too much. I should have. I should have found the lower bound where it stops feeling good. Well, I'm learning. Next time I do an old PC game with action elements, I'll keep this in mind.
Ah, you feel much better now.
I can target this, but I've never seen a moment yet where it seemed relevant to heal another person. Which I'm totally willing to do. I'm an honorable paladin. Okay. Now. On the note of turning down the cycles, I did finally crack last time on the maze puzzle, and I clicked the hint thing, hoping that, because, you know, I've been operating under this theory that the maze, there's no path through that doesn't involve the Antwerp bouncing into a hole. I'm going to need an object, and you're allowed to use objects in these puzzles. I'm going to need to... I know that I think you're joking, Cedric, and that's probably not a thing that'll happen, but I mean, I gotta try now, don't I? Because that would be brilliant. And when I cracked and took the hint was like, try to time it carefully so the Antwerp doesn't fall in a hole. And I was like, holy shit. The other time I took a fucking hint for one of these puzzles, it showed me the answer. And now your hint is just try to solve the puzzle. But then when I thought about it, because I had to spend some time this week thinking if we were going to have fun today, the thought that occurred to me was, if my plug the holes... Ooh. I gotta follow Cedric's advice and finish reading that, the fun little... I don't even know I can't even remember what it's called. But there's like a little like hero's journal kind of thing. And I did read the bit about the Rusalka to see if it would get me going on this quest, and it didn't. Although, I figured something out anyway. Oh hey, it's finally just gonna let me in. That's cool. But yeah, it occurred to me later that if you gotta, gimmick the puzzle to plug one of those holes to make it possible, if that theory was accurate, surely the hint would hint at it. So what if the answer all along was so much simpler? And it was just, you're playing the game on hyperspeed, idiot. What if you tried playing it on normal speed,
This is
like
the
someone
end.
who's not a freak? So, let's see. Because the question is it possible at a slow enough speed to tip the Antwerp so that it's dropping towards a hole, but then rotate again before it falls? And it seemed not possible when I tried it last week, but now I'm not so sure.
The Antwerp has found a hole
All right.
in the space.
That was neither proof nor disproof of my theory. That was just bad work by me. Speaking of, daylight and a dollar short kind of thoughts. This is about Ogre Battle. But there was so much dialogue in that Castelletian Sea scene that I did last time in Ogre Battle about how the mermaids had sided with the Empire because they'd been treated so badly by the human population, and can't we all just get along, and look at these atrocities the humans did to the mermaids, no wonder. There had to have been something that I missed, like a sacred item or another hidden place. There had to be some way that the ending could have been not just kill the mermaids because they're working with the Empire, right? Arrgh. At any rate, I'll never know unless somebody explicitly tells me, or I finally, when I finally finish the game, I can read about it. Okay. So, this is not quite moment of truth. So what I gotta try to do is tilt up this way so it starts to fall, and then tilt that way again when it's here before it gets to the hole to get it to here. and from there it'll mostly be smooth sailing, if that's a thing that can be done. However, it also might be that the cycles are still up too far. So I'm not getting... We could confirm that it works here, but we can't confirm that it doesn't work. So we're on this bouncing puzzle, possibly for a little while longer.
The Antwerp.
Felt possible. Hold on. What happens if I go a little slower? This feels deliciously possible at this speed. I want to be very clear to all the folks who had a lot more experience with the games of this era on their own computers at the time, that I am aware that it's actually it's much better to occasionally have overclocking problems than it is to deal with all the disk access and the loading, and I'm not trying to diminish your pain. Okay, 2 fairly quick clicks here.
The Antwerp has found a
Too
hole
quick.
in the space-time continuum.
That time, I definitely clicked that time before it... Oh, goodness. Okay, if it's from the manual, just tell me. Just tell me. Absolutely. Oh, yes, I knew that. I can't do that, though. Got a chip on my shoulder. I say that. There's a very good chance 10 minutes from now I'm like, alright, skill slider down to fucking 0. All the holes disappear in the Antwerp. It's just like it's just a marble race thing. Too soon. Okay. Click, wait for the bop, but then immediately click afterwards.
The Antwerp has found a hole.
Feels real possible. Exactly. I'm not going to sacrifice my honor just to avoid a few moments of frustration, but to avoid several moments of frustration, I don't know.
The Antwerp has found a hole in the...
Another 1,000 emulation cycles down. Oh yeah, I can't imagine it would affect. That would be pretty meta for the time. To be like, not very honorable to turn down the difficulty. Arg. Oh no. Antwerp, no. Can't bounce high enough to go back this way. No. Okay, however,
The Antwerp is...
I'm fine with that, actually. That's easier for me at this point. Okay. These new problems I'm having actually are filling me with hope. so it's not so bad. But if now I'm constantly clicking too soon and interrupting where it's supposed to be getting to, oh Lord. So, I have been talking about the possibility PJ, I read that in John Rhys Davies' voice, and it's true.
The Antwerp has found a...
It's okay. It's okay. I have been talking about the possibility of deferring Quest for Glory 5 until the point, trying to set myself up for a possibly ill-advised. I knew that was wrong. Okay. Oh man. When I get to the trickier timing ones, I will not be telling a story. But for now, yeah, I've been thinking about what if I set myself up like a marathon of disappointment, where like the games that I do are like Ultima 8, Quest for Glory 5. I haven't even started the King's Quest series, but could I get to the Mask of Eternity one in time? Star Control 3. I'm actually not sure. However, although I'm not reading the posts, I can tell by how many there are, and then the fact that he broke his 2 games at a time thing to add a 3rd game, that the CRPG Addict's playthrough of Serpentile is very, very, very long, and mine are almost always longer than his when I look at his completion time. Although I bet his completion time would slow down if he was talking about my streams while he was playing. So it seems like maybe it's going to take me so long to get there that I'll be like, I don't want to put off, alright, this is the moment of truth, arc. And now it just seems to be bouncing faster. That's infuriating.
The Antwerp has found a hole in the space-time.
Okay. Trying to do this just with PC cycles first. Absolutely crazy. I've turned it, it's now at 40% of the default that GOG Galaxy has set up here. And you can see like the disk access happening in real time. Please insert disk 4 so the Antwerp can be bouncing towards the whole part of the key.
The Antwerp is found.
Don't do it on the... Okay. Perhaps I will wind up resorting to the skill slider. There's a temptation here too to although I don't think I've not heard good things about save states in DOSBox, but man, this cries out for some save state cheating, doesn't it? Okay. It's all just about timing now.
The Antwerp is found.
Okay. The thing here is that it's not even about skill, really. It's about finding the moment where you're allowed to click again. It seems so obviously possible. You know what? Before I do that, let me verify. Let me see if I can verify. It occurs to me I have an opportunity to practice here with this one. That didn't seem like it was possible. Okay, there. Yes. I did a bounce prior to the Antwerp having fully fallen. So it is possible. It's possible. So in a sense, I've solved the puzzle. Just not in the sense that allows me to advance in the game. Seems excruciatingly obvious the Antwerp needs to get the red key before we leave. Be funny if that turned out not to be true. That's not a red key, it's a red herring. There's no like context that could trigger the narrator saying that, or else I would be that sounds like a Lorian line. Oh my god. Yes, I see it now. I see what a... Yep, oh man. Oh man. I see it now. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay. I'm gonna run to the washroom. And then we're gonna do this the sensible way. Hang tight, gang. Okay. So if the Antwerp is bouncing up to that hole, does that give me the space that I need? It probably does. So, okay, what are the moves though? It's turning it this way to get the bounce up and then turning it back to get the drop down. Okay. All right. Great. Awesome. I feel good. And while turning the cycles down helped, actually just figuring out what to do was probably possible even before that. Minimal risk from here to the key. Although, at least one more risk Oh, maybe no risk at all. I assume I have to get the key and then get out of the maze. That's how he wound up, kind of. He seems a little off, but that's not like he's not aneurotypical. He's just spent too much of his life on this Antwerp puzzle. Oh, here's a slight risk, but not a huge one. He get. I understand why they didn't do it. But I wouldn't mind if even now, like you're playing Mario Odyssey and you get one of the moons and Mario went, "Moon get!" I'd get a kick out of that. Okay. So there are... I think I've developed the understanding of the trick, and also, yes, it helps an awful lot that the Antwerp is not... I didn't, like, pour espresso down the baby Antwerp's throat before I put it in the maze. Its bouncing is much more moderate. That's going to help. There are still a few risks here that I gotta... It's gonna be very frustrating, so I gotta be careful here. Okay. It's just 2 turns. Oh, yikes. In Super Mario Sunshine, Mario does go, "Shine get!" whenever you get one of the shines. So this is a close call. Alright, if I turn up so that I'm going right, then I want to turn back the other way if I'm actually able to attempt this. Okay. Whew. Although also the trick of getting the Antwerp bouncing over the hole and not like settling into it. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is largely solved. Okay, so here, 2 tilts this way. Yeah. So nice when it happens good. Sometimes, back to the shine get, key get thing, object get meme. Sometimes, you know, and I'm sure this is true in other languages as well, but sometimes someone trying to express a thought without a masterful grasp of the language comes up with something that, like, it's not right, it's not the correct grammar or whatever, but it feels very expressive. I can see how quite possibly several Japanese games that involved acquiring an object would have wound up using the thing get to celebrate when you get a thing, because that is what's happened. we just experienced a shine get or a key get or whatever. I remember once a Chinese student wrote to me to say they had missed an assignment or something because they were unwell, and they were hoping that they could have a chance to pass it in, something along those lines. And so I wrote back to be like, well, like, first, I hope you're feeling better, and then, here's the system so you know for the future that we have a centralized absence reporting system. You don't need to go to every single one of your teachers. All this kind of stuff. And when she wrote back, the first thing she said was, "Thank you for your care." Which is not, like, thank you for caring, or thank you for your concern would be the proper way to say it. But I thought, thank you for your care really kind of gutted a thing about how, a lot of university students aren't expecting their professors or instructors, their teachers or anyone to care about them as individuals. I don't know. Okay, so you can only bounce up 3 squares, so to speak, so there's not actually a risk of bouncing into that hole at the last minute here.
Congratulations. You've used the baby Antwerp to get Dr. Cranium's laboratory key from the maze. You add the key to your keyring.
Feels good. Alright, I need a cigarette. No, that's not true, I don't smoke. However, my cat needs lunch. Do you need lunch, Abra? You want lunch? She's staring at me like she's never heard the word lunch before. Is it lunchtime? Hey. Alright, yes. Just, what am I trying to think of? I think it's something in The Simpsons. Just a mouthful of cigarettes and just lighting them all across. Alright, hold on. Abra is apparently indifferent, but she came in here right around when it's time and is looking at me expectantly, and, they do have to have their lunch. So I'm gonna go do it, even if she's not all that excited. She's staring daggers through me. I don't know. But I'll be right back, gang. Hang tight. All right, back at her. So I went to the intermission and I was like, let's try this again. I looked at Abra. I was like, do you want lunch? She's just kind of like, and then when I moved even slightly, she was like, rah! So for whatever reason, on this particular occasion, she was just like, talk is cheap, motherfucker. I'll get excited about lunch when I know that you are giving me lunch right now, as though I ever say a meal word to her and then just don't follow through. I don't know. Her sister jumped right up downstairs when I was like, lunch. Her sister didn't realize it was lunchtime. She was asleep. Oh, I sure didn't. Yeah, if there's a Roberta Williams style comedy instant death waiting for me just beyond this stupid door. I'm not sure I ever tried just casting open on this door, and I don't think I want to know if that was always an option. Well, is this it? Do we meet Dr. Cranium, or do we meet Dr. Cranium's next 7 or 8 puzzles? Some of these have been The monster identifier one I thought was excellent. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Gotta solve this again? Fine. Okay, fine. Fine. We're not getting cute about this. Doing this as easily as I possibly can with maximal reference to the provided solution. Okay. What next? Now, this thing probably like that? I don't know. Hold on. Yep. It's a little too much for me that all the pieces rotate and you can just swap them, and that there's like a background with repeating key colors. Like, I'm not great at puzzles like this, but I can gut it out. Oh man. There are 7 of these puzzles in the Roberta Lorianne collaboration, and there's a hard cap on the number of times you can rotate, but that's not communicated to you. Eventually rotate stops working. If you haven't solved all those fucking puzzles, man, it's not our problem. Start the game over. This here? Yep. Yeah. Yep. No. Why did I think that might be it? Okay, hold on. Respect for creating a visual puzzle challenging enough that it's still hard when you're looking at the solution. Okay, wait. Okay. New. Yes. 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 That's not what I was asking you to do. Okay. Little tiny red markings just beyond the thing. Ah. Yeah. Yeah. So this must go here, I guess. Wow. And then hey, like really, at this point, the keyhole doesn't just work. Ta-da! And the first time this button will come in to play is to use
Great.
my keys.
You've managed to find Dr. Cranium's keyhole and open the door. You pass through into Dr. Cranium's private laboratory.
And you know this guy is going to be the most annoying character in the game. Or is he just a play on Gene Wilder's Frankenstein?
Quickly, Igor, the fluid. I must have the fluid. Oh,
Could be both.
Excuse me. I thought it was Igor coming in to assist me. He helps out in the lab sometimes.
Okay, hold on though.
Now then, what can I do for you?
Out of place electric guitar riff. A better fit here. This is... Okay. Dr. Cranium. Got a banging ass theme song. I'll give you that, buddy. Hello, Dr. Cranium, first of all. The illustrious Dr.
You say
Cranium. I've
hello to
heard
the scientist.
some things about you.
Welcome to my laboratory. You must have more than the usual intelligence and perseverance to have made it in here.
And masochistic tendencies, yes. Alright, so if my reputation hasn't preceded me, I should let you know.
You introduce yourself to Dr. Cranium and tell him a little about your adventures.
That'd be quite an accomplishment.
I should be most
in mad
interested to
science.
hear about your travels and your scientific discoveries along the way. Unfortunately, I have very little time for that right now. Perhaps we can discuss your adventures when you next return.
Oh yeah, I'm always down to tell anyone about my adventures. So I guess, do you know about magic? Probably. Maybe I have something to tell you about magic?
You explain to Dr. Cranium that magic is really a lot like science and even deals with the same elements.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, nonsense! There's no such thing as magic. There is only science. What you call magic is simply scientific phenomena that have not yet been properly investigated and catalogued.
Well, by any chance, have you done any preliminary research on a new spell I could have? I guess I should ask you some questions. Like, what the fuck, man?
My name is Dr. Cranium. I am Mordavia's chief scientist and a certified genius. Some call me mad, but I much prefer Dr. Cranium.
Ah, you know, I never mind when people call me hero, prince, paladin. But it is nice when they call me James too. So I see what you're saying. They call me mad, but I'm not mad at anyone. So yeah, you're into science, huh?
Ah, yes, science. I'm glad you asked. Science is the process of systematically increasing our knowledge of the world through observation and experiment. Unfortunately, some of the townspeople here seem to have no concept of the wonders of science. Some of them even claim my little inventions are magical. Such poppycock. There's no such thing as magic.
Alright, so
Still, the townspeople
I got some
insist
things
that
you could
I should
observe,
be able
buddy.
to use my
I've already
magic
told
to
you
cure
about it.
wounds and sickness. I told them that I am a scientist, not a doctor, but they wouldn't listen. I had little choice but to concoct some simple elixirs. They were childishly pleased. Science is really so simple once you understand.
It's really that childish to be pleased to have a healing elixir, whether or not it was magical or scientific? Come on, man. This is kind of elitist. And also, you're bragging about your inventions. The hell does that have to do with science? That's applied science, buddy. You're partially a mad engineer. Hold on. Door crack driving me nuts. Alright. So yeah, you make potions, huh? Stamina potions, for example?
If you want to improve your stamina, then you should make sure you eat a healthy diet from all the different food groups and get plenty of aerobic exercise. That is science.
That is nutrition. Which I suppose is a category of science, but... Alright. Well, I do work out. I don't know if you can tell. Do you make healing potions?
Oh, you must mean my patented healing drink. You may have my last one.
That's great. Although I do most of my healing with magic,
I have forgotten the
actually.
formula for its main ingredient. If you can help me remember it, I will be able to make some more healing drinks, although the work is very time-consuming.
That's alright. Your time has no value to me. Okay, wait. We have a puzzle. He says Mexicalish. Alright, we have fire, water, pizza, tornado, planet Earth, and a button. Alright. Mexicalish. Okay. Mexico. Oh, this is copy protection? Ah. In that event... Oh, thank you. That saves me opening up the manual. Fire, earth, pizza, fire, pizza.
Thank you. With that information, I'm sure I shall be able to create some sensational scientific solutions.
Doesn't bother you that the information was nonsense? You're supposed to have a scientific mind. Okay. Can you cure poison? I've just been kind of let it run its course.
Oh, you must mean my new universal poison antidote. You may have this one, but I will need some help with the formula to make more. Also, I am afraid I only have time to make one each day.
Ah, poison in this area of the world is not nearly so bad. There we go. I knew it would come to me, somehow or other. Earth, water, fire, pizza, earth.
Thank you. With that information, I'm sure I shall be able to create some sensational scientific solutions.
If you ask for the hint on these, is it like, just look in the back of the manual, dumbass? Or do you not have a manual for some reason? You got any empty flasks kicking
You
around?
ask Dr. Cranium if he can spare an empty flask for specimen collection.
This one flask I have is it's got some gross residue in it now.
I'm always delighted to assist scientific research of any kind, and I have plenty of flasks. You may have this one.
Da-da-da. Holds the flask above his head triumphantly, like Link. And yeah, so, what have you been experimenting with lately?
Experiments are the meat and drink of science.
Yes.
First, you must come up with a hypothesis based on your understanding of the scientific elements. Then perform an experiment to test the hypothesis. Afterwards, you have a pizza.
Ah, yes. Delicious. So, what are these scientific elements?
Earth is for solidity and stability. Air gives freedom and movement. Fire provides power and energy. Water, fluidity, and life. Pizza, of course, is the most important element of all.
Yes.
Pizza represents the essence of well-roundedness and regaining strength. Most importantly, you can have it delivered in under half an hour in most areas.
So the real big problem that you're running into here, Dr. Cranium, is that your understanding of the elements is based on ancient philosophy. There are hundreds of elements.
A hypothesis is a scientific guess. One predicts the result.
Oh, we had such a good pizza.
Performs an experiment to test the prediction.
This
then
weekend.
have a pizza to celebrate the result.
It would normally come with sausage on it, although with no sausage, I'm vegetarian.
Sometimes the experiment may give a different result than predicted by the hypothesis.
Yep, that's true.
Since real scientists don't like to make mistakes, we always write the hypothesis in pencil.
No, that's not quite how the scientific method works. But okay. Yeah, it was... Oh, what did it have on it? Feta in addition to the mozzarella. I don't know what kind of onions they were. Maybe like white or sweet. Like an unconventional type of onion. And then like grape leaves. And then there was like the pizza sauce. What like tastes like pizza sauce, but it had a kick to it. So they threw some cayenne or some chili in there or something. Oh, it's freaking good. And it was even better reheated in the oven the next day. What's your favorite kind of pizza, Dr. Cranium?
Pizza is a crucial ingredient in many
to each their own,
formulas.
PJ. Couldn't be me.
Nearly infinite variation in
Can't
its
do
effects,
black olives
depending on whether
or green
one
olives.
starts with pepperoni, mushrooms, artichokes, or plain cheese. One should always order extra pizza in case the experiment requires additional materials. Besides, science is hungry work.
Yes. Well, what about magic? You don't think that magic is real, but you also believe in a
There is, of course, no such thing as
really
magic.
old conception
There is
of the
only
elements. What if I cast a bunch of cool spells? What would you think?
How gullible some people are. Just the other day, someone
Okay,
gave me
this
this
is-
scroll saying it was a magical spell. Can you believe that?
I don't know. Please let me
Purest
memorize
poppycock.
it quickly.
Nothing on here makes any sense whatsoever. Here, you may have this as a reminder
Thank
that
you.
magic is a figment of fevered imagination. Only science is real.
Obviously, Dr. Cranium needs to take a correspondence course from the famous wizard school. As you read the scroll, you find that you have learned the incantations and gestures with which to cast a glide spell.
Ooh.
Then the scroll vanishes.
There, you see, it was not even a very good piece of parchment. Fell right apart.
You're not doing great at observing things, Dr. Cranium. Also, props to Mr. Rhys Davies for reading that line in the hushed tone, like we're having a conversation that we don't want Dr. Cranium to hear. So you work with... How did Igor solve that puzzle? He was using the hint too,
Igor
right?
is the gravedigger and tombstone carver. Business has been slow lately, perhaps because there are very few people left in town. So Igor sometimes comes in to help me with my work.
That's one of the strangest restaurant concepts I've ever heard, Shubin. Are the pizzas... Like, what are the 5 pizzas? Like, this one has scrambled eggs and bacon? Are they like brunch pizzas? So yeah, Igor's business.
Igor has had less work of late. The forest is just as dangerous, but there aren't very many people left in town who are stupid enough to go out there at night, you know. I like to think of it as a sort of evolution in action.
What an admirable way to think about your neighbors. Well, the first sentence there is a bummer. Or sorry, first clause. There's a bummer, Cedric. But pizza and curry restaurant sounds intriguing.
Igor is carving out quite a niche for himself in the gravestone business. You might say he is well on his way to becoming a rock star. Then again, you might not.
I wouldn't personally, but every person I've ever spoken to in my entire life would. Something about this place.
The cemetery is outside of town to the east. It has proven a fruitful source of materials for my experiments.
Okay, so
also
4 just conventional pizzas and then a cool breakfast-themed pizza.
There.
Great work, Dr. Cranium. I've solved all those puzzles. I was probably expected to meet you a little bit sooner. In the same way that there's some things I was probably supposed to do a little bit later. So, just a general question about fluid, I guess?
Essential etheric fluid is an important ingredient in my formula for reanimating dead bodies. It contains
of the
element of water, the most important ingredient in life science.
Yes, so this thing about fluid is interesting, but could we circle back around to reanimating the dead? I don't think you should do that.
This laboratory is where I perform some of my most important research. Lately, I have been trying to bring life back to a dead body and to brew the perfect cup of tea.
Alright, so, yeah. I don't think you should do this. And also, oh, yeah. I had been thinking, it had started to occur to me, like, what the hell does anyone other than a paladin do? Just like, get really freaking good at the battle system? Or return to town every time you get attacked by one bunny and then just rest till the next day? So, alright. Are you sure about this?
Reanimating the dead is just another day's work in the life of a scientist. Even science cannot bring a person back quite the way they were, but one can use scientific principles to restore the semblance of life and energy to formerly dead flesh.
Again, this sounds like more like engineering or the applied sciences to me, and also, don't do that.
The one alchemical combination that I have thus far been unable to fully analyze is that of a good cup of tea. I'm sure there must be a way to duplicate the effects of nature, but the results have not been promising so far.
No, I've never had a tea with artificial flavors that was better than an all-natural tea.
I thought not. This is even harder than rehydration solution and reviving dead tissue.
Alright, so have you considered just a black tea, a blend of chai spices, and some turmeric in there? It's a damn near perfect cup of tea. Turmeric chai. Any other horrifying research?
Research is the heart and soul of science. Without constant experimentation to prove or disprove one's hypotheses, the scientist is left trying to solve the world's problems by guesswork. That is hardly the most efficient way to achieve results.
Do you ever really prove a hypothesis? Could one argue that the scientific method is an inductive method by which we only approach near certainty about anything? I mean, it's quite possible this guy hasn't actually taken a PhD course of... There's a second Doctor episode of Doctor Who that is mostly lost to time, although the clip I'm about to describe still exists, where the villain is a scientist who wants to blow up the world, and he's like, he's like hammily overacting his, like you would expect a mad scientist with this kind of goal, as he explains his plan to the Doctor. And then Patrick Troughton as the Doctor, one of the better actors to ever play the Doctor. Which is not to say he's even like my favorite Doctor. Just like in terms of just skill as an actor, I think one of the better ones, especially in the original run of Doctor Who. He goes, yes, well, that's all very well and good, but I just one question. Why do you want to blow up the world? And then the mad scientist goes, to blow up the world is the ultimate goal of science. Which is obviously not true, but very funny. You got some crazy equipment around here.
I try to maintain a modest selection of useful experimental equipment in my simple laboratory. Unfortunately, it has become very difficult to obtain the most modern scientific accessories since the road
That's really hard.
became closed by the swamp.
I'm sorry, Dr. Cranium. I think you said something about it's hard to get equipment at the swamp. Yeah, I've heard about the swamp. That's great. Favorite Doctor? It's not Dr. Cranium. Caveat that I've not seen any of Lady Doctor, like the most recent completed Doctor run, and I only saw the first episode of Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. My favorite Doctor... Oh, man. Alright, here it is. I think my two favorite Doctors of televised Doctor Who are the second Doctor and the fourth Doctor. I have a special place in my heart for the sixth Doctor, while recognizing that almost none of what made it to television was very good. And I do quite enjoy Colin Baker's the audio plays with the sixth Doctor that I've heard. And then I also, the most of the audio plays of Doctor Who that I ever listened to were actually the eighth Doctor, who barely exists in Paul McGann. And I really enjoyed all of those that I listened to too. But yeah, second Doctor, fourth Doctor, I think are my two favorites. How about you, PJ? Or anybody else? Yeah, so they call you a mad scientist, huh?
Mad? Mad? They all call me mad, but what do they know of madness? I am not mad. A bit perturbed about the world situation and how I get so little respect, perhaps, but certainly not mad.
I was wondering when you'd get to the wordplay about how mad can mean, crazy or insane, and how mad can just mean angry. Alright, well. Good talk. I guess. I mean, listen. David Tennant is a really good actor and was fun as the Doctor. I think I watched so much classic Doctor Who at a time in my life when I had a lot of time to watch Doctor Who by myself. Before I got around to seeing the modern series, that there are some things about the structure and the way the modern series works that are just disappointing to me.
You say goodbye.
Even as a lot of it's really good.
Please be careful not to break the beakers or crack the flash.
But all the modern Doctors, like the actors, are great. I don't think I have a Doctor who I don't like. At least of the ones I'm aware of. Maybe the female Doctor wasn't good.
Come back and visit again. And if you see Igor, please tell him I still need the fluid.
I will tell him that. I'm not sure if this is just a gag or an actual thing I can do. So, seems quite possible, in fact, that unless there's something more to come, it might just be, is it ever necessary to actually go to Dr. Cranium? I don't know. How am I doing for puzzle points? 222. I've acquired some. Not that many. Oh, I was around 200 at the start. So, Several. I've almost tried all the thoughts that came into my head that I could try. The climactic one, I'm going to have to wrap up pretty soon. The climactic one will be going to sleep and seeing if the next dream is just Arana saying, oh, by the way, here's the main quest of the game. Hey, Igor.
Always, Igor. Happy to know you not customer. Yet.
Always made just a wee bit uncomfortable, Igor, by the hesitation before you say yet. Okay. I did kind of suspect that there's not a get the fluid subquest.
Rest in peace.
Hilarious stuff, buddy. I will take the doctor's advice, although he did point out that he's not a medical doctor.
This is a little too easy now.
Alright, fine. I'll add more weight.
You pick up 2 of the metal weights and put 1 in each of the baskets.
Ooh. I hope by the time I finish the quest, I've really maxed out my gains here. Got all the weights in.
Your legs are too stiff and sore to use this right now.
That's an odd way to phrase your legs have become stiff and sore from working out, so now you're done. Whatever. Okay, so far, bribe the Rusalka with gifts worked. That was nice. Step into the swamp and see what happens. Did not work. You can't even step in the swamp. Turn down the cycles was part of what worked to get me into Dr. Cranium's lab, although I think in hindsight it was actually also possible to do it with the cycles
Good
up.
day, and good to see you again.
Nutri. Oh, it's wonderful to see you, pal. I'm just having a great day. How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. You looking well? I think I saw your grandfather. But hold on. I'll come over and ask you questions right to your face. No, we got nothing to talk about, Dimitri, but...
Take care.
I will tell your grandfather that you said hi, if I see him again. Alright. So besides the Arana thing, my remaining idea, which maybe I can get done in the time allotted right now, in the day. I think there's enough time in the day to try this. There's just, obviously, one thing that I have been doing, and I think I've gotten better at making sure that I'm doing after having a bit of a wandering in the wilderness phase with Wages of War, is remembering that this is a story that's happening. You got to keep talking to the people, because they might have new things to say as things happen. And I've been doing pretty good at that. But there's one person I haven't talked to again. And it's quite possible that it seems, in fact, I would put my confidence rating with this one as one of my lowest of the ideas that I came up with. But my thought was, does Baba Yaga have more to say? Or will she just actually freeze me and eat me if I go back there? Shouldn't take too long to find out. And then, having done that, I'll have tried everything that I thought of, except for having a final dream. And the dream one was the idea I was the most confident about. So... Oh, but I also haven't followed up with going back to the graveyard and being like, now that I'm buddies with the Rusalka, will the hero have the thought of, hey, wait, does this name refer to my old pal Rusalka? What is the glide? I should cast the glide spell at some point. Maybe I'll save that for next time. Freeze! Get it? you get it, Wyvern?
You cast the protection spell.
I said freeze. Alright. Well. Oh, he's here. He's in my face now. Oh, Katrina! Yeah, that was another thing that I need to try again. She didn't show up the last time, but perhaps that's because the game wants me to do something else on my own. I'm not doing good. I mean, I'm doing fine in the sense that I've got the protection spell up. But I kept on trying to cast spells when he was far away and then going to the sword when he was close. In a battle of attrition, Wyvern, I win. The copy protection, it occurs to me, is kind of weak given that I'm pretty sure I would have carried on thriving if I had never got any of Dr. Cranium's potions. That said,
The only effect is a tingling sensation. But if Dr. Cranium is to be trusted, you should now be safe from poison. For a while.
Excellent. Okay, so, alright. I think I have time to test the Baba Yaga theory, go to the graveyard. That's true, and I didn't. I paid for this through GOG Galaxy.
Your protection spell has worn.
Ominous, just as I'm going to test my luck with Baba Yaga. Alright, so I want to try to talk to Baba Yaga, try to go to the graveyard, and then bounce back to the Rusalka. Okay. Don't worry, that's definitely not revealing too much. And then pop by the town gates and see if Katrina shows up again, and then sleep in Arana's garden. I think that's viable in the 20 minutes I have, unless there's a if it turns out, yes, there's more with Baba Yaga. She'll tell you the whole story of her life, and you can talk to her for an hour or something. Then maybe I have to stop, but yeah. If I had to stop right now, this would count as a successful session of Quest for Glory. Shadows of Darkness. The ball's rolling. It's been a strange and circuitous route that I've been taking, but it's been just a shit ton of fun so far. Yeah, and given the impression I get of Ultima 7 Serpentile being very, very, very long, and the fact that I need to go through Ultima Underworld 2 before I even go to Serpentile, I'm not sure I can hold off on Quest for Glory 5. And also, as I think Cedric, either Cedric or Thad has explicitly said this, and also it does seem to be the conventional wisdom, Quest for Glory 5 isn't like a, oh come on, you've killed the series in the same way that the Mask of Eternity was for King's Quest and the latter Ultima games were. It's more of a, I think the phrase that was used was that it's just a little disappointing because it's not this, it's different. So perhaps there's no reason to think about keeping that for that reason. Okay, greet the skull.
No one seems to.
Okay. Hey, skull buddy.
Hey, what's new with you?
Oh, plenty. I got the Rusalka to talk to me, but yeah. I think it was you, Cedric, but yeah, that seems to be the general vibe. I will say that I have looked at one screenshot out of curiosity just to see how different it might look, and in some ways it doesn't look that different. Like it looks like a point-and-click adventure game sense. It looks much different in the sense that it was the mid to late 90s, So like, we have the technology now for everything to look like shit.
Go on in and find out for yourself.
That's what I'm gonna do. I just wanted to make sure that was cool. Do I have to ask him to lower the hut? Oh, I can greet him now.
Return of the Red Hot Lovers, eh?
I don't know what you mean by that. Are we the Red Hot Lovers? Mr. Bonehead? I didn't realize your name was Bonehead, by the way. I've been calling you Mr. Skull.
It doesn't say much.
If I just approach, will he... Oh. Okay.
You feel a sense of wariness and more than a little hunger.
Am I sensing hunger or am I hungry?
Out loud.
Doesn't she always?
That's so true. Glue his shoes.
Okay.
You find your feet stuck against
Alright.
the floor.
But this is movement if you're not also gonna freeze me. Baba!
Oh, back so soon, Cookie Face. I hope for your sake you brought us something to eat. After all, there's always room for Hero.
Yeah, good one. But I was actually wondering if you had other dialogue. How have you been?
Oh, I'm fine, but a bit peckish, I'm afraid. Have you got something on you for an old ogress to nibble on, besides your toesies?
Do you like garlic and avocado sandwiches? What kind of foods are you
You
looking
know
for?
my taste by now. Anything gruesome and doosome.
Yes. Well... I mean, I've had this sandwich, like, this has got to be extremely, like, gray and oxidized by now, this garlic avocado sandwich.
That is not something we consider edible. Feed us or veep.
Okay, okay. Hold on. You want to, crack the marrow out of these bones?
I could use these to make a good bone soup. So what do you want for this, Cookie?
I feel silly now, Cedric. Like, immediately crystal clear once you said that, but I hadn't picked up on it. Okay, great. She'll just eat the bones. Alright. Have you heard any interesting rumors?
I've heard that you were brought here by those up at the castle. They weren't too happy when you landed in the Dark One's cave instead of their spell circle.
They're only going to get progressively
They
less
just
happy
didn't
about
realize
that.
how powerful the dark influences are. They are keeping a close watch over you now, though.
Oh yeah. Any particular individuals running the interference there?
You should go visit the castle someday. You probably wouldn't get in the front door, but...
Probably not.
There is supposed to be a secret passage from the graveyard to the castle. Now, what besides talk are you interested in having?
I'm mostly here to talk, actually. I mean, extremely difficult with any long, like, series that is telling a big plot to cap it in a way that satisfies everyone. I'll say that the only, besides, the context of, all sorts of venerable video game series were being awkwardly brought into the 3D era in a way that disappointed the fans. So I know the context of it. I remember reading the CRPG addict saying that he remembers, I don't know any of the details, but he said it has one of what he considers the most well-crafted role-playing choices that he can recall in a video game, which is exciting, but I don't know anything about what it might be. And then I don't know anything else. Oh, and it's set in still Magda. But that's all I know. Yeah. So, yeah, I woke up in that cave. A lot of sphincters in
The
that
Dark
cave.
One's cave has been around for many years. It seems it was a place of worship for a cult. They wanted to bring a Dark One into this world. Fortunately for this valley, the cult didn't succeed, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. So this Dark One doesn't sound great.
The Dark Ones are creatures of another plane of existence.
Aye.
They are incredibly powerful and dangerous. When they enter this world, they bring darkness, madness, and destruction.
Then why would anybody want to?
Don't mess with the Dark One's cave. I'd hate to have to leave this place because you ruined the neighborhood.
Would it really be that much worse from your perspective, though? Anyway, but there's dark influence, even if the Dark One's not here.
The Dark One that was worshipped in the cave almost, but not quite, came into this world. It's now trapped in a limbo state between dimensions. However, its magical aura leaches into this world, particularly at night. That's why things are so much more scenic when the sun sets. The dark influences affect spells here, too. Particularly spells which work both in and out of the valley. Crystal Ball reception stinks. We're magically cut off from most of the world. The castle folks used a lot of magic trying to get you here. You should be sure to thank them for your visit when you see them.
I will. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. When Baba Yaga is both like, right now, she thinks that she's found a great place to live. There's a hung person outside in the yard. There's this and that. There's a swamp full of undead things. There's Rusalka. Necrotors prowling everywhere. And when she's like, this place could be ruined if the Dark One gets here. Like, both, like, oh, you think something's bad? That's bad. But also, it can actually get shittier than it is? Because this place fucking sucks. Okay. Well, are you going to reward me for giving you those bones? Baba Yaga, have you... This is when I want the text parser. Have you been fishing around in the hollow of the hangman's tree out there?
What do you want in return for your little gift?
If you have found any weird scraps of paper?
You asked Baba Yaga about a Dark One ritual.
So, you heard about that, huh?
Yeah.
I found it in the hangman's tree some years ago.
That's
You're
where it was
asking
supposed
for
to be.
trouble,
I
hope
should have connected this
Using
one
the ritual
faster.
for any purpose will only bring you grief. It can be used in either one or two ways. Its main purpose is to bring a Dark One across to this world.
Well, I'm not going to do that, I promise.
A very powerful wizard could use it to send the Dark One back to its world.
Oh, now that.
You don't qualify as a very powerful wizard as I see it. Still, you want it, you got it.
Okay, well, for one thing, I am pretty good at
Ritual away
magic.
in your pack.
I'm not bad at magic, Baba Yaga. Do I have to find a third disgusting thing for her to eat so I can finally ask for the spell reward? Anything left for us to talk about?
Hero near, out I hear.
Oh, hey, great. Our hearts are one here. This is not what it's like when getting company to leave. Where I'm from. The extremely gradual process of first people starting to be like, alright, moving so that I'm sitting at the front of the couch. We're going to continue. We're still talking as you walk down the... Nah. Okay. Well, that all... It makes a lot of sense. I should have... When the hint was so explicit about where it was, and then there was a hollow, but it was empty, and also Baba Yaga lives literally a stone's throw from it. But hey, all's well that ends well. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, you don't say. Fine. Delete this one, please. Yes, I'm sure. It's the oldest one I've got. Grinder of bones, collector of goo. Hey, I'm deleting the save games from when I got the whole Baba Yaga thing cooking in the first place. So there's Katrina, and like, I ought to do a systematic nighttime exploration. My most recent nighttime exploration was all just like, what if the spirit by the hangman's tree will just be there if I come at night? And it wasn't, because that had nothing to do with how to get the thing. But like, have I gone to the swamp at night? I'm not sure. Alright. Well, that's probably not happening today, so I'll put a pin in that for now. Okay. Saving. Type a name. Alright. We're rolling. So. Graveyard. Possibly back to the Rusalka. Night falls. Pop in outside the town gates. See if Katrina is there. Or maybe if Tanya's Aunt Trina shows up. Speaking of connections it took me way too long to make. Realized last week that the law of economy of characters dictates that Katrina and Aunt Trina are obviously the same person. Wait. What does the glide spell do?
The glide spell only works on liquid. You can't cast it here.
Okay. Well, that's intriguing. Making a note of that. That's the thing I can look in the manual for. Does it tell me what the glide spell is? Possibly not. But also, I know where I know a few places where there are liquids. And Baba Yaga has a spell. If I can find more bones or, I don't know, just like a rotting chunk of flesh. Something disgusting. So north from here gets me to... Yeah. The mistake that I've made. Ah! Never mind. No mistakes. Back on track. I'll let you know, young sir. Or old sir. None of the ideas I came up with had anything to do with you, but there's got to be something there. I don't know. Maybe that'll just wind up being a dangling thread for me. Or maybe I'll figure it out. Okay. And is that Alyssa's grave that's bleeding?
The inscription...
No, that's Michael Ned. This is Alyssa. But this time...
This gravestone is marked.
The hero walked over. Does that mean anything?
Alyssa save. She passed into a watery grave. Her body was lost. Only her memory remains. Here lies Janos, faithful forever to his lost true love, laid beside her empty grave.
Now the fix, the ritual to free the Rusalka, emphasizes that she must have an untrue lover. Which could easily be Janos. It could just be a lie. That he was her faithful lover to the end. Okay. Well, that didn't make me feel like I've unlocked a dialogue option. And yet, it's still daytime, so we gotta do something. Let's go west. And then west. And then west once more. Sure. I don't necessarily want to know anything more than just you could be getting something done here. But that might be helpful. And also, okay, I could do something. Cool. Alright. Then I guess maybe I will think about the annoying little bush guy for a week here. Leading up to next time. Okay, this is working perfectly as a kill the daytime strategy. Heading over Rusalka words. Turning down the cycles has made the combat and certainly the Antwerp puzzle much better. While also kind of making the in-between map transitions substantially more frustrating. Okay, I'm right here. I need to go south. Once. South twice. A third time to the south. You'll never catch me, Necrotor. West. I suppose there's also the possibility that busting through and talking to the Rusalka, like, what if now I can talk to Nana Olga and be like, hey, you know, you want to gossip about people who've been dead for like 20 years? I feel pretty damn confident.
You have a strange, disquieting feeling along with a sense of sorrow, longing, and unfulfilled desires as you near the lake.
Okay, but she's still going to remember me, right? Because I didn't bring any more candy. Although I do have the flowers, so maybe.
Hi again.
Oh,
I hope
sweet.
you come back. It gets lonely here with no one to talk to but the fish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, we'd better not touch. I'd have to drag you to your death, and I really don't want to do that. You've been kind to me. And
Okay, so you are compelled. That's comforting to me. I'm glad to know that. Yeah, I'm all for you not drowning me. So, hey, Rusalka.
welcome back. You seem to be finding your way nicely in Mordavia.
Yeah, it got a little tricky for a minute there. Can I tell her about my most recent adventure of reading what is probably her gravestone?
You sure have been a lot of
I'm
places.
pretty sure it would be
The
like,
only
tell
place
about
I've
her
been
name.
besides the lake is a swamp, and that's not exactly a tourist attraction.
Yeah, but that swamp, like... Well, perhaps the glide spell. Do you sometimes think people might mistake you for a mermaid?
Mermaid? What do I know of mermaids? I'm a Rusalka. You do realize I'm undead, don't you? I mean, it's not like I have a life here.
No, yeah, I get it. I'm just going to see if you have new dialogue
I
here.
and
Yeah.
comb my hair and look for people to drag to their deaths. It's not exactly a busy schedule.
Could I grab a lock of your hair while we're talking about your hair?
The swamp to the southeast is a very scary place. I swam there once out of curiosity. I was combing the weed and goo from my hair for weeks after.
You mean weeds?
The will-o'-the-wisps were friendly enough, but those grasping arms, ugh. Weirdest of
Okay.
all with a creature standing guard near some sort of tomb. Well, I'm not going back to that swamp for anything.
I'm sorry, will-o'-wisps? Do they only appear at night? Have I never gone to the
Will-o'-the-wisps
swamp
are
at
the
night?
souls of lost children. They play around the swamp at night. They look like little sparkles of light.
Or have I seen those?
Watch it, though. They love to play hide-and-go-seek in the swamp, and most people who try to follow them there don't return.
Okay. Okay. There's a whole friggin' thing.
I call it a tomb, but it was more like some sort of pillar. It felt magical and very, very cold, even to me. I stay as far away from it as I can. Scary.
There's a pillar that feels like a tomb, you say? The kind of tomb stone that you could hide a ritual in?
The guards near the tomb were really weird. They looked like they had been human once. Now I don't know what they are. Well, they aren't dead or undead, as far as I can tell. Just awful.
Are they goons? Are you just thinking of goons? Any thoughts about these grasping arms?
The grasping arms will try to drag anyone into the swamp. Now, they can't get you if you stick to the grassy areas, but I don't recommend you go visiting there.
They can't get you at all, because I tried. I wasn't even allowed to step. Maybe I can glide in the swamp, though. Who knows? Anything cool about the lake?
I live... well, maybe not live exactly, but I do reside here. It's a nice lake, but as a recreation area, it leaves something to be desired.
I mean, you can swim,
The only
you can
boats
drown.
around here are sitting at the bottom. Fishing tends to catch the fishermen. The swimming was pretty good if you don't mind drowning. All in all, it's not an ideal vacation spot.
Some of my least favorite swimming experiences were the ones where I drowned, so I understand what you're saying. Okay. Well, goodbye, Alyssa.
It was great talking to you again. Come back soon.
One day, Alyssa, we're going to laugh about how I thought you were Anna. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. Okay. Last couple of things to do. Maybe I'll bump the cycles up a step. Just the page turns are getting to me. Even at the overclocked speed, they weren't particularly speedy. Is this just like sunset? Yeah. Okay. In that case, why don't I rest here an hour? And then it'll be dark. I'll see if the will-o'-the-wisps appear, but I don't have time to play hide and seek with them if there's a whole thing to do, which presumably there is if they appear.
After some rest, you feel better.
In a manner of speaking. It's also now night in the horrible haunted woods. There are parts of this that feel worse. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm more alert to be... I have more awareness of all the horrors that surround me. Alright, so I have experience, as we know. Lots of experience talking to floating balls.
You say hello to the will-o'-wisps. The will-o'-wisps ignore you.
Well, hold on.
It doesn't say much.
No. Can't ask them questions. Do they care if I say
au
goodbye?
revoir to the will-o'-wisps. The will-o'-wisps ignore you.
Okay, so obviously we're gonna come back to this thought that occurs to me. If the glide spell allows me to move on the water, then perhaps approaching them is how to get them to initiate a game of hide and seek in the swamps, which might even have more screens or something involved. At any rate, that's too much of a sequence to do right now. But alright, we're cooking again. Feels good. Alright, so from here... Well, either way, just all the way to the north will get me most of the way to Mordavia, no matter which column of the map I'm currently in. Be just grand if I don't get, mauled by any Necrotors. Although, if a Necrotor comes, I'll just defeat it in combat with my superior skills. I am, after all, a Simbani warrior. Alright. Hey, Katrina, want to move this leg of the plot along a little more? Perhaps not just yet. Yeah, put a pin in that. Without getting into a detailed discussion, Schumann, do you have the impression that I've hit the soft lock you were worried about? Or alternately, do you have the impression that I've avoided it? Not a bad idea, Cedric. Might as well give it a shot. I don't have time to mess it. Ah, yes. Wait a minute. Actually, no. I guess there's one good reason to not run, because my stamina's a little low. Perhaps this even is a feature of DOSBox. Probably not. I don't see how it could be. It'd be great to set up a dynamic emulation speed management system. Ha! You'll never catch me, you stupid Chernoff wizard. Although I have missed my evening window. So, presumably she won't be here. I'll try it again next. Because the evening thing actually sounds like it might be the entire answer. Because she's trying to play along like it's dangerous at night. I can't remember if it was night or evening when I met her the other time. Okay. Well, at any rate, what she ought to have done is to, just the first time she met me, she should have said, "Oh, it is so dangerous in that cave. You must be thirsty," and then poison me. Or drug me, you know. Come on, Chernov wizard chasing me from the north. Oh, I can deal with bats. There we go. The timing is actually a little bit easier on the bats with the cycle slowed down. But I've got the knack at the high cycle, so it adds new challenge for me personally. Alright, just a couple more page turns and we'll be at Irana's garden for the capstone. Yeah, I was bragging about how little the poisoning matters. Oh, wait, and then I said that other thing about poison. All around, just tempting fate here. Alright, a nice peaceful garden. Love being in a peaceful garden. I both enjoy this song and I enjoy being reminded of Shala's theme from Chrono Trigger. So it's all around good vibes here. Alright. So, alright. Hold on. Keeping track. Bribe the Rusalka worked. Walk into the swamp and see if you can dodge the hands failed. Although, maybe there is something in the swamp now that I know about these will-o-wisps. I'll call that a qualified success. Slow down the cycles and realize that you have two ways to approach getting around that hole quickly. worked. That's a partial success, because I think doing it right, I could have probably done it even with the crazy cycles, crazy speeds. Talk to Baba Yaga worked better than I had hoped. I just thought maybe she knows something, not maybe she'll give me a bunch of exposition and one of the rituals. And then this is the one I was most confident about, so I have quite a batting average if a big dream happens now. Let's find out. The capstone of today's session. Going a little later than I want, and apparently just it's warm in here. Of course I'm sweating. Change my shirt, that's fine. Alright, we're skipping right past the good feelings. No. Here's Arana.
You are walking in the land of dreams, searching for something.
I'm looking for Arana,
You sense the nearness of Arana.
Yep.
And feel her gentle presence beside you.
Okay. To the left or the
Turn
right?
to her and see tears in her eyes. You feel sorrow and an incredible sense of loss and reach out for her.
You're not going to leave me like the leopard lady, right?
As the vision resumes, the darkness swallows her, and she is torn from you. You feel her die as she tries to drive the darkness away. The darkness is trapped in the world between worlds.
Yep.
So is Irana.
Okay. Hey, is that a Voozle?
You awaken as the sun begins to rise.
Okay. Oh my
Like a
goodness,
cold sweat.
PJ.
You remember every detail.
I'm
of
glad
the
you're still with
nightmare,
us.
as though it had really happened to you.
Okay, so that was not the climax of the dreams, but the dream thing is moving towards a thing, and also oh man, Arrested Development Season 4 was like a decade ago and had a joke about how Michael finally moves to Phoenix like he was always talking about doing, and then immediately burns his hand really badly on a car door handle and decides he hates it and leaves. Oof. Yeah, I've heard that southeast United States has been having some alarming temperatures. Well, geez. Stay safe and keep the AC cranked. Oh, man. But yeah. If we get all these rituals, but I'm not a powerful enough wizard, but Arana has something left to do, and she's actually right there at the same place as the Dark One? Right? I can see how this all might come together. Alright, so. Tuesday. Double Dragon Gaiden, a new Double Dragon game is out, so we're taking a break from the history of the beat-em-up, and me and my buddy Greg are going to play the newest beat-em-up there is. See how that is. I hate the graphics. I'll tell you that much. Not because they look bad. I was not I've been very fortunate to be not really directly affected by the fires or the flooding that have beset us this so far. So it's great. Glad we're all okay. We gotta, everyone's gotta be pretty much vigilant forever now. If we did every single, save the climate thing that we should do tomorrow, we'd all die before the climate started getting better. Sobering thought. Anyway, I don't like the graphics they chose for this new Double Dragon game. Not because they look bad, because they don't look like Double Dragon to me. It looks more appropriate for Kunio-kun. But I guess we'll find out. And even if the graphics suck, even if the game in many ways doesn't get Double Dragon or something, it's not going to make a bad game necessarily. So I'm looking forward to that. This is my last week where I can do 2 Ogre Battle streams on Wednesday and Thursday, because then my vacation's done, and I've done the thing to myself where I started a game on vacation that is going to carry on well into the school year. I always do this. Oh well. Friday night Frosthaven. We are going to have a very momentous outpost phase that will probably be the whole episode because it's the last summer week before the winter. And there are 4 calendar events that are going to be triggered. Then it's Saturday. I'll be back playing Inscription, the deck building game that has also got some weird stuff going on. It's really cool so far. And then we're back here. Quest for Glory, Shadows of Darkness. What does the glide spell do? Does Olga know anything about... Or does anyone in the town? Now that I've cracked open the Rusalka, can I talk to them? Can I go back to the Travelers and get my fortune told again, learn something more there? There are avenues. We're back on track, team. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. If you stuck around to the end, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you came and you left, you can't hear my voice, but I'm glad you stopped by anyway. So thanks for stopping by. And until the next time, we all fall asleep and have the same terrifying nightmare together, take care of yourselves and be kind to everyone you